The first thing I'm going to do is practice reading in information from a text file and assigning it here to the names list box. So over here in my bin folder, I have debug folder, and then I have our names list text box. We want to make sure we use the one in the debug folder, not the one we made in the resource folder. So I click on it, and real quickly I'm going to just type up 5 names like Betty, Frank, Doug, Lou, and John. We'll make John Jenna. Now, just like when we're doing string manipulation, each one of these names has an index number it can be referred to. Betty is 0, Frank is 1, Doug is 2, Lou 3, Jenna 4. I'm going to go ahead and save this. And I'm going to go to the Get Names button. Everything I code will be inside the Get Names button. That includes these variable declarations that I'm about to do. And they're a little bit different. So I'm actually going to zoom in on this a little bit, make sure we get a good glimpse. I'm going to start with a dim. I'm going to call it InFile because it's reading the file in. That's a good practice name. As the type here is a new type. It's IO, which stands for input output. The I for input, the O for output. Dot stream reader. So this is a file, a pre-programmed function, if you will, that reads in the information from the text file over here. Then we're going to also create a string, dim name as string. And this name, we'll call it name of person because it's still just saying unused local variable, but name of person. Now, we need to make our program foolproof in case this file gets removed or it doesn't exist. So we start with if input output dot the file, so the file, dot exists. And then we need to put the name of the file inside of the parentheses and quotations here, which would be namelist.txt. You need the extension here. Then we assign it to the variable that we made up here, the stream reader. So it'd be InFile equals io.file.open text. This will open up the text inside of this file. And we use the same name, namelist.txt. If it doesn't exist, we can make an error message pop up later because we're not done just yet. We made the file exist, and now we need to read in each individual line from this file. So that goes like this. And this video you probably will need to watch a couple times over. Instead of a do while, we're going to do a do until. Do until InFile.peak equals -1. Why -1? Good question. -1 is 1 less than 0, which is our first position. So -1 means we ran out of positions to put the names in. That's what it means. Do until peak file, InFile.peak equals -1. So it's going to start at 0 and keep going, and then it'll also be counting backwards to count to the peak. meaning it maxed out. So, name of person equals in file dot read line. So the line that the counter is on is what it's going to read to this variable. And then we're going to add that item to the list box. So name list box. Names list box. Sorry, it was plural. Dot items dot add. You'll do name of person. It's the easiest way to do it. And this is the only two lines contained inside of the loop. So once again, do until infile.peak equal -1, meaning it runs out of names here. No more further options. Name of person equals infile.readLine, so it's going to read these lines up through the 5th line. Name listbox.items.add. We'll take that variable and put it in the list box. Outside of the loop, we then have to close the end file, and that ends this portion of the if. Else, if we don't find the file, then we could just make a message box.show no file found. So we're going to get one or the other to happen here. So let's see what happens. I'm going to hit get names, and it gets the 5 names from the text file in the same order I show you. If you take a look, comes through in the same order. Let's end this run. Where some common mistakes happen is, let's say there's some deletes and the spaces weren't deleted. So there's literal spacing in there. When we go to get the file, those spaces make it as well. It's a very literal, whatever's on that line, until we reach how many lines there are and we max it out, they're going to bring them with them so they don't completely recognize it. There are different preventative measures we could take towards it, and we'll show you, if your final project requires it, 1 or 2 of them. That is how you read in from a text file.